Have you, at some point in your life, imagined the unimaginable?
It definitely made it more accessible as an audience member. It made me think more about what was actually said and more about the words and what the meanings behind it and all that. It made it more accessible to watch and more highlighted instead of wondering what was going to happen next. I already knew. So
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Yeah, the song is particularly emotive. I mean, for me, in general, it picked up, not just with the music, but it picked up with the Sleep Tight sort of montage. That's where it really started to kick in for me.
Yeah, we felt that, haven't we?
Really kicked in at that point there, and then everything really became, and the song really peaked, and that was the pinnacle for me. The song really worked, so yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Hey guys. No, I really enjoyed it. A good scene for me, which I really liked, was where you came on and you were using your bodies and using your breath to recreate sound as well. So as well as the music working, just the sounds that you were making yourself really does give like an atmospherical kind of feeling to it. Yeah. So definitely keep that in. That was great.
Of going off the physical movement, I felt that worked really well as an ensemble, and the way you created sort of things almost like a machine was very expressive and emotive, and you could sort of get a good description of what was going on through that. So I thought that worked very well for you.
The thing that I really liked the most as a company, as you working as a company, is that you injected people's strengths and you had little bits of everybody in their personalities shown throughout the entire performance. So things that we've never seen before.
I think topics like this, it's very easy to go overboard and it's very easy to just make an audience uncomfortable. But I think you managed to get a really good balance between what you actually decide the audience to feel and making the audience think for themselves. I think you manage that balance really well, whereas lots of professional companies don't. So I think that's really good to do, so well done for that.
Did you find it difficult working together, and how was it trying to work on the piece itself?
I think the best thing to do if you're working as a group is to keep, I know it sounds a bit wanky, but to keep meetings going, because otherwise you just fall apart completely.
Yeah, so like the reason that we've chosen to do this is because we've been working this is our third year together as a group, and we kind of came to the realization that we work so well together, it'd be a shame to waste it, like just in 3 years. So I guess our advice to all of you guys is anyone that you feel strong working with, whether it be the whole group, whether it not be, like seriously think about continuing to work with them after uni, because this is just a ledge. This isn't everything. And, this is what we're taking away from it, and we chose to do it because we do work well as a group.
We didn't elect a leader to start off with, it just naturally came about, because there's so many ideas bouncing around in a room, you just needed one person to say, okay, we'll mix these together, we'll use that, and stand on the outside and look at it and put all those ideas that everyone's flashing out in. Until he naturally took that and we all accepted it, and it's worked really well. So we just kind of, depending on what the scene is, what the project is, different people dipping and out of it, and this one was Tilly's baby, so we went with it.
It sort of happened organically.
Yeah.
Just wondering, to what extent do you feel as though it's necessary when tackling a serious and potentially sensitive topic? To what extent do you feel as though you need to earn the right to debate it or create a performance around it?
You don't have to film me. I'm going to hide behind you. I think you're okay. I think to a certain extent you have to know enough about the subject to be able to be tactful about it. We've all done a lot of research. We've all done a lot of research into the psychopath's mind and what makes a psychopath. So we feel like there's a test you can do. There's a psychopath test you can do, and I think every single one of us has taken it.
Yeah, we're pretty high as well.
Yeah. We all scored very high. So it's kind of because you put yourself in that mental position, you go, well, hang on, but if you have tact because you know more about it. I don't believe we could fully go down proper paedophilia because I don't think we know enough. We know a lot about it, but we know more about Wow. I'm going to stop speaking and let everyone else speak. I'll go back to the camera, it's fine.
With a sensitive subject, the key is research, otherwise there's always going to be someone that knows more about it than you. So you can never do enough research, because there will be someone in the audience that knows more about it, and they will tell you that they know more about it, and then you have to change your whole piece. So the key is really research, and just make sure nothing's so cliche that it's almost offensive to the subjects, because it is based on people. Everything's based on humans, and humans have feelings, and we don't want to hurt them.
As long as you can justify why you are doing it, I think you're okay. The point where you can't justify what you're doing is in there for no reason. And there's been so many times where we've created things and gone, that's amazing, but what does it mean?
It means nothing, let's do it again. Dale?
Sorry, go on.
Sorry.
So in terms of research as well, and obviously it helps us a lot with creating a story, it's really important, and it's really interesting to find out other people's stories potentially through research. The one main person who you heard coming from The Voice was Geoffrey Leonard, and he has not been arrested for doing, well, basically abusing children. And it's really interesting to find that he actually documents all of that and he writes it into books. So it's really interesting to think that, yeah, that is a horrible issue, but yet again, it's a kind of art. You kind of get me
to him.
Dale, you're a freak. But so yeah, it's really interesting to go down, and then that's when we can get the context in order to create a story, and that's kind of what we did on that.
Can I just add a very quick sentence? Like, I think that someone asked earlier, like, what made us choose that topic or attracted us to that topic, and exactly what Dale said. The reason that we used Geoffrey Leonard was because he made something grotesque into art in his head, and that's pretty much what we're doing in our heads. It may not appear as art to some people. It may do, it may not do, but Psychopaths is very much the same. Something I've kind of fallen in love with a little bit about Psychopaths is that the vile things that they do are beautiful in their heads, and so we tried to put that into creating this piece of work.
Sorry.
As a group, your skill set fits very well with both a kind of storytelling narrative theatre such as this, however non-naturalistic or stylised it may be, also fits well with post-dramatic theatre. Or post-narrative theatre. Is there a reason why, and speaking to you separately about this, why you want to fit in with the storytelling elements quite to the extent that you are? Because a number of the theatre companies that you seem to be influenced by are non-narrative, are post-dramatic theatre groups. Holly?
I think where our narrative, particularly with this one, came from is the fact that we based it on the Zeus idea, which is a children's book. And with children's narrative, it's not completely it's not a novel, but it's not detached from a narrative. So I think that's what we've managed to do in our thing as well. We've got a story, but it's not like a story.
It's not the top line. It's in there.
So yeah.
I think it's nice for an audience to have something that they can always refer back to and cling to as well.
Especially when it's a topic as difficult as this one. There's just that little bit of comfort. It's avant-garde, but not like avant-garde.
This kind of theatre, this kind of subject, sort of thrust at that. Is it something you think is important that we should listen to, or what? Do you think it's something that you want to talk about, or do you think we as an audience need to hear this?
I think it's becoming increasingly more important that theatre is something that everyone can relate to. Like, there's a theatre group that we were looking at that do late night performances, and they do cheap performances that everyone can come to. I think if a production is expensive and sort of built up like a bit la-di-da and it's well known, often people become intimidated, and we don't want people to be intimidated by theatre. We want it to be an accessible thing because we think it's beautiful, and we want everyone else to as well.